G'day, everybody, and welcome to another DUC Migrating to Australia podcast. My name's Wes Zant, and I'm joined by Andrew Nash. So, Andrew, welcome, mate.
Good morning, Wes. How you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. You said morning, so you're
Ah,
coming
yeah.
in from the UK. So, whereabouts in the UK are you coming in from, mate?
So I'm based in Essex, not far from Stansted Airport.
Okay, and that's where you've always been, mate. You grew born and bred Essex, or
No. Grew up in London, and everyone else you eventually move out so you can afford housing, and ended
yeah,
up in Essex. Yep, little
good,
bit quieter.
good stuff. Just so, obviously, well, you're an electrician,
Yep, that's it.
and what part of the visa process are you at the moment, mate?
So we are actually lodging today. I have a phone call with Trish this afternoon
Yeah.
to lodge our visa.
So you've had your invitation to apply.
Yes, yeah. So we
And
got a invited by Queensland, and yeah, good.
perfect. And what visa are you applying for?
190.
Okay, perfect. So straight to PR, which is
Yeah.
good. And who's coming? Like who's going to Oz with you, mate?
So there's myself, my partner Lucy, and our 6-year-old Mia
Yeah,
come with us.
perfect. Now you also have Mel 18, and she's not. She's. How did that pan out, mate? Was it her call not to go, or what's the story behind that?
Yeah. So Melanie is my stepdaughter, and she turned 18 last year. So we've sort of spoke to her throughout the whole process and said to her, like, this is possibly what we're going to be doing. Are you up for it? And I think when she was a little bit younger, it was more exciting, but now she's got a little bit older. She's got a job, she's got friends, she's looking to go to university. So she decided that she's going to stay for the time being. She may come out later on, and join us, but for now, she's like, I want to stay here. I want to finish my education and then possibly a little bit of traveling. So we was like, yeah, cool. Suit your life. You do what you want to do. That's fine.
Tough though. Like, what are are you like? What are your thoughts? Does it sadden you? You're kind of like proud that she's going to stand on her own 2 feet in the UK. What are you thinking? You don't have to answer these questions, mate. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but
No, it's cool.
I'm sure lots of families are in this situation, or listeners might
Yeah,
be
100%.
in
I
that.
think a bit of both. Yes, it's sad that she's not coming. I mean, for me, I suppose seeing her transition the last few years, like, growing up and going to work, sorting out her own job, really putting her head down into education. It's like I've seen her change a little bit, and we don't see her as much now anyway, because with us working and her doing that. So, we can see that she's sort of got her independence there, which is fantastic. But yeah, at the same time, it's going to be sad. Mia's going to miss her sister.
Yeah,
We obviously the big changes, and obviously for Lucy as well. She's got to leave her daughter behind.
yeah,
So yeah, I suppose at the minute it's there's not a lot of conversation there. We know what's happening. I suppose when we
yeah.
get closer to the time, yeah, there'll be some more tears and more discussions. But yeah, it's just kids grow up, I suppose, and go.
Yeah, it's challenging, isn't it? I'd hate to be in that situation, and I think, like, obviously, there's lots of communication and lots of chats about it. Like, when did you guys start thinking about making the move to Oz?
So this is something that, for me personally, I've felt from a young age that I want to go to Australia. I've got a lot of family over in Australia in Perth, and it's weird because I actually see more of them than I see my family that live in the UK,
Okay,
because we've got sort of dotted around the UK. So I've sort of seen them a lot. I've been over quite a bit. They come over here. We sort of try and see each other once a year. So either we'll go there or they'll come here.
yeah,
Um, and every time I'm there, I just like it. And I've always said, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. Obviously, life gets involved in the way a little bit. And yeah, I think with me and Lucy, we decided just to give it a go, just give it. And that was I think I spoke to you actually in January of 21. So yeah, is when we
you.
decided, actually took the plunge.
The actual day we spoke, mate, was the 12th of the first, 2020.
Oh, was it 20? Wow.
There you go,
Okay.
mate. Yeah. Oh, just a month earlier than what you said. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I've just got here when we first. When we first spoke. So, you. God, that's. It's a long time. From now to actually lodging the visas. Did you have? Obviously, we had pandemic and all that going through. Was there many other delays that you've had throughout the process?
No, I'll be honest, mate. I mean, yeah, I remember speaking to you and let's do it. And then I'll be honest, it was no delays. I just put it off.
Yeah.
Things were going well with work, with the business, with my business. And we just said like, just do we need to go really?
Yeah.
Things are pretty good here. So put it off. I remember getting the access to the portal and obviously uploading the documents. And I think like most people, you go on there. I uploaded all the easy stuff like your passport, your picture, and then looked at a few other bits and went, oh, I'll do that later on. And then
Yeah.
just sort of put it off and just carried on working. And then I think like in the last sort of couple of years, things have changed here, obviously in the UK. Yeah, you grow up a little bit, or I don't know, maybe mature a little bit, and then you go, do you know what? I want different things now. Um, and it was only the start of last year that I actually jumped back onto the portal and just went boom, got everything done. Um,
Yeah.
so no actually delays like COVID or nothing like. It was more me. It was just me
Yeah.
going. I think I'm okay here.
I think it's so common, Andrew, for that to happen. Like you just get stuck with life. And I always say to the clients when they're signing up with us, like the hardest part's getting all the documents. And
Yeah.
I think the weather plays a big part in it too. Like we notice lots of clients, they don't drop off, but they go behind a little bit. They sort of slow down during the summer months in the UK. It's sort of like, oh, we're
Hmm.
just going to get out there and get some sun. We'll focus on it. And then as soon as, December hits and all the way through now, when, with this being recorded in the middle of March, everyone then is just starts uploading all the documents. They're like, that I don't want another winter here. I want to
Yeah.
crack on. So it is really common. Now with Lucy, has Lucy ever been to like Oz? Did any of you guys do like work and holiday visas or anything like that?
No, no, no. So Lucy's actually originally from Brazil,
Okay.
and she came to the UK by herself at like 22 to London and didn't speak a word of English at the time. So she's never been to Australia. She's only been here, Brazil,
Yep.
and I've been over there a few times just for holidays to see family and that. So no, we've not done any sort of work or anything like that.
How do you explain to her what life's going to be like? Bringing Mia and Lucy over to Oz. What's it going to? How do you say that? How do you explain it?
Well, I really admire what she did when she was younger. Like, I've wanted to go to Australia for a long time, and like I said, things have got in the way. And yeah, it's scary, changes and that. And then when I think about what she did, she moved to a country where she didn't even speak English, and she
Yeah.
survived for like 20 years now, and made a good life. And I'm like, I've got a good family, like support is there, like in our house, and
Yeah.
like why not? I've got people there that are going to support and go, and she's always been up for that. If she's and we went to Brazil in December, just gone. So I've been banging on about Australia for a long time, but going to Brazil was actually quite good because there was a lot of things that are very similar. Obviously mostly the weather, but a couple little bits like the way of life and things like that. And I found myself quite a lot going, oh, that's the same as Australia. That's the same as Australia. And then we have my family come over, and obviously they speak to her and stuff like that. Yeah, she just she's on board, mate. She's on board for change, and she can't wait. I mean, she's now more on it than I am. She's watched YouTube videos and just telling me stuff about Australia now to the point where I'm like, just give it a rest. Just give it a
Yeah, you're
rest.
getting educated. So okay, and like, what does she do for work, mate? Like, you're the Sparky. Is she got a career path that she's going to do when she gets here, or she's going to play it by ear?
She's going to play it by there. I mean, currently here, she looks after. She's like sort of house manager. She basically works for this company that have flats dotted around the world, but she looks
Yep.
after the one in London, which is like next to Tower Bridge, and she just basically manages that, makes sure it's all up to condition and things like that, make sure the guests are okay. So they haven't got anything in Australia, but she's up for like, what, when we get there, I will just see what's available, and she's up for doing whatever it takes, mate.
So you're about to submit the actual. I reckon these podcasts come at odd times. So many times I've had a podcast, and as we book them in, we've had visas be granted, and obviously you're lodging today. It's weird how it happens,
Yeah.
but I guess with everything that's going on, have you got a rough time frame of when you're actually going to arrive in Australia? Because visas are getting. I know we've had a few visa grants today because I get copied into them. We've had a couple of
Mhm.
plumbers actually get granted today. But do you have like a timeline of actually when you want to go? Because I know you got 12 months from when you get your basically either medicals or when you get your visa granted. Have you got a certain time? You're going to rush into it, Andrew, or do you think you're going to like wait till like next Christmas, or as soon as the visa gets granted, you're going to come out?
No, we're going to wait a little bit. I've got a few things I want to finish here. Like we're
Yeah,
actually getting an extension on our house starting tomorrow. So there's things like I want to get finished here that
yeah,
that we've had planned, and also some things with work as well. I think we're probably looking after April next year, and then that gives me enough time to sort of tick the boxes that I need to do here.
yeah. Are you going to
Um,
keep the property and rent it out, or are you thinking of selling it and getting the
no,
equity
we're
to
gonna.
come over to are you going?
No, to be honest, man, I'm not sure. We're gonna sell, so we've got we're gonna it's a bit of a starting block over there, but
Yeah,
we're not sure, mate. To be honest, I mean WA seems like the right place because of family, and it might be easier for us for support there and to set up. But and this is not to annoy anyone from WA, but having been to other places in Australia, I find a couple of other places a bit better.
where? Where do you reckon? It's interesting.
So we've been over to Queensland a couple of times and been up to Cairns and that sort of area. And then what we've actually planned to sort of do is because we're going to bring our dog with us as well. We've actually planned a route. So I think pets fly into Melbourne, if I'm right,
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and then stay there for quarantine. So we've actually looked at doing a route from driving from Melbourne to WA, and
nice.
then sort of getting Melbourne, Adelaide, all the sort of the south coast in. That'll
Yeah,
take about two weeks, and then it also lets us have a look at some other places in the country as well. So I think we may go WA just to set basic things up
yeah,
and stuff like that. But then we're like, let's just look. Let's not just. I see a lot of things on the DUC Facebook page, and people say, oh, I moved there first, and I moved over to here, or vice versa. So yeah, we're very much open minded with it, mate. To be honest,
good on
have a
you.
look.
All right, Andrew, that's the best thing you can do because it's funny what people. I mean, we set that Facebook group up so migrants could talk for that reason. Like so you could offer each other advice. And sometimes I feel someone will make a comment and people just think, oh well, then that's the reality of it. But it's so not because everyone's different.
Yeah,
Like everyone is different. I'll speak to people that only want to move to Sydney. I couldn't think of anything worse than Sydney. I mean, I'm in
no.
Victoria, but I wouldn't want to live in the suburbs of Melbourne. I couldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But so many people do it. And if you have an opportunity to sort of float around before you get settled, why not? And that's the beauty of the visa you're getting, mate. Well, you're going to put in for today. The 190, it just gives you the opportunity to do what you want, when you want, how you want. Once you get your gap training complete, are you going to complete your gap training and be a Sparky in Australia? Is that the plan, or are you going to do something else? Or
I think I'm gonna get it, and then I've got it. I'm not. That's what we said. This is a chance now to try other things as well. Not just move to a new place, but maybe look at a new career or something. I mean, I run a business here, and I have done for about 16 years now. So it's going to be quite tough for me going and working for someone. To be honest, I think that's my
yeah,
biggest fear. I'm
yeah,
not scared about moving or anything like that. I'm more about working for someone.
yeah,
Um, However, having not done it for a while, it might be something that I do and go, do you know what? I haven't got the hassle of invoicing. I haven't got the hassle of chasing payments. I actually quite like this.
yeah.
So
7 till 3, log on and log off,
yeah,
live.
yeah. So I'm not sure. I mean, my idea has always been like having freedom to do a job where I can have a bit of freedom to, if we want to go traveling, we go traveling and stuff like that. So
It's so hard, mate. Honestly, it's so hard because yeah, it is. you're just going to get so many different, like ways of living, and obviously the cost of living and all that too. So once you're a Sparky here and you've got your license, it's, Sparky and plumbers are the highest paid trades. But I'll see things on the DUC club about people saying, "Oh, plumbing's harder in Australia," and I actually thought plumbing was way harder in the UK. And again, it's just perception, isn't it? But it's what you're used to, and then the idea of working for someone else when you've worked for yourself for so long. I can see how that will put challenges. But if you do get through your gap training, once you've got that Australian qualification, no matter what state you go to, you get your A grade license anyway. You can sort of start subbing work for yourself. But the idea, I think for most migrants when they first get here, the idea of 7 till 3 working, you just got it's like you're going to have a whole day when you get home from work to do what you want to do. It's perfect. Especially
Yeah,
if you got Mia who's 6 as well. Like when they finish school, I mean, when I'm not doing podcasts or meetings, we got a puppy before Christmas, and mate, me and the 3 kids just go for a walk to the beach with the dog. It's the best half an hour of my day by a mile. Like
yeah,
it's just amazing. Just feels like it goes for hours, but obviously I've got to put him into bed. But yeah, it's just so good, and having that freedom. And yeah, anyway, I love that part, mate. What about Mia? What are your plans? Because she'll be 6, so she'll be 7. Is she just turned 6, mate, or is she closer to 7 now?
she'll be 7 in August.
7 in August. Okay. So what's that? That's probably going to be grade 1 when she gets here. Grade 1, grade 2, probably.
I'll be
Because
honest,
if
I
you
haven't had
come
a
in
look
in
at that.
April, she'll probably start just after the like the Easter holidays.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so she'll miss term 1 off that school year. It'll be really good. Have you like with her schooling and everything? Is it just like for us, we just put our kids in school. We weren't worried about certain curriculum and all that sort of stuff. Are you guys the same? You're just going to put the kids straight in, or is there certain schools or certain things you want me to be learning?
No, nothing yet. I mean, she's doing pretty well at school here. So we will, like I said, I mean, yeah, maybe we'll go to Perth first and set up and get her in there. No, she loves learning. So right now we're not trying to force her to learn anything here, but we'll, if there's things in the future that we go like, oh, you know what, let's, don't know, maybe get some private tuition, something like that. But right now, I'm quite happy to. Again, you read on Facebook groups, some people say the schools in certain areas are not so good, but I think that's the same even here in the UK as well. I mean, we've been pretty lucky. The school that she's gone into is really good,
Yeah,
but we're actually close to a school that's not so good. So I think it's just, it's just the same as everywhere, really. And I think it's also what the child wants from it as well. I mean, right now she's fairly young, but she just loves learning. To the point
yeah,
where I have to tell her on weekends, like, Mia, it's the weekend, give it a rest, please.
yeah. Chill out.
Daddy needs to do stuff as well. But going back to what you just said there about like taking a dog for a walk with the kids, that's that's one of my big reasons for coming. I'm not really doing this so much for myself. It's like we are now just getting a little bit of warmish weather.
Yeah.
My heating has been on here for about 7 months
Wow.
because it's been that cold. And some of the driving force behind this decision for me is because Mia can't go outside. She's got a little trampoline, and the other week she came to me, she had a fleece on, a coat on, and she's like, "Daddy, I want to go outside," and I'm like, "It's a bit cold," and she's like, "I don't care, I just want to go outside."
Yeah.
And she just went, and obviously seeing it when we went to Brazil, seeing Lucy thrive. I think it's the same with everyone. People say, "Oh, you shouldn't go there for the weather," and we're not going there for the weather. It's what you said as well. It's about the lifestyle. I get home now, sort of anything between 5 and 9 o'clock in the evening. Um, I want to finish at a reasonable time. I'd love to go and pick her up from school. I'd love to take her for a walk along the beach, or take her to the park or something like this. And that's my driving force is for her, so that she can do more. Because every time we have a dry day or a little bit of sun, boom, she's outside.
Yeah, outdoor
She
kid, mate. She's an outdoor kid, and that's just it. But they're the benefits you get. I mean, yeah, like you say, people say don't go for the weather, but that's what we're here for. You still got to pay taxes. You still got to go to work. You still got to. see family.
Yeah,
You're still going to miss people, but you just get the out. Like it's anyway. I love the fact that back in 2021, I brought my family, but the two boys, and now we've had a daughter since over here, and I don't know. I really love where we live, and I love the fact that where the boys go to school, we follow this road that just follows the beach. We see the beach nearly the whole way to school. Like
yeah,
it just makes you feel happy. Like
yeah,
it just makes you feel free, and you've just got this world, this fresh air, and everything like that. You can go for a run, go for a kick of the footy. Like it's just, and you're not worried. Like you had the heater on. I mean, we've had the air conditioner on
yeah,
for a few
yeah,
months. It's just crazy. And then once you get like, it's like the thing about getting a pool. Some people say, oh, getting a pool's a waste of money and that. When you've got a young family, having a pool it's like you've got a holiday in your back garden.
yeah, yeah,
You're just out there. Like, so I always say to people, if you plan on coming here and you like the weather, yes, you can go to the beaches and all that. But if you get an opportunity to rent or buy a house with a pool or put a pool in, geez, it's great. Like we've only had our pool for a couple of years, but every weekend like Andrew, we get the pool to the kids won't go in it unless it's over 30 degrees. Like my oldest boy is skinny, so he's like, nah, what's the weather? He's like 8 now. What's the temperature? I'm like, I just lie to him sometimes, say it's 32, but it might be like 29. I swear he knows. He's like, it's freezing. He won't go in until it's under 30, but yet they'll go in the ocean where it's like 20-ish, 20s, mid
yeah,
20s in the bay. Not a worry in the world, but the pool, they want it boiling hot. But they just acclimatise to it. They love it. They just love the outdoors. So I really hope Mia gets to continue with that life. Is there anything else that you guys want to gain from living in Australia? Like, have you spoken then a bit about lifestyle and all that? Is it financially? Do you guys think when you sell your property, do the extension and all that, you sort of get yourself ahead financially with that part? And is there anything, you want to get out of living in Oz?
yeah. I think. I mean, I'm. Yeah, I mean, look. The reason I wanted to do the podcast was, because when I hear people, if a lot of people seem to be in the same position. They just want to go as quick as possible.
Yep.
And like I said, for me, I run a business here, and we do okay. If I didn't go to Oz or something happened, they said, "Sorry, you can't come." Yeah, okay. It's not ideal, but we're okay here. We've got things here. So I think the idea of coming over there is just to give Mia, Lucy, and myself, obviously, just a bit of a better life, a bit of, like you said, you wake up in the morning. Even the last few weeks, we've had a little bit of sun come through the blinds in the morning, and it just makes you want to get up and get out there and crack on. And I think that's what we want to feel every morning, is that we don't want to
Yeah.
be in a position where we have to plan what we're doing. And what I mean by that is, I find here that anytime it's sunny and you want to go somewhere, everyone's in the same place as you are. And people say to me, "Oh, you're such a miserable old man." I'm like, no, I'm not. I just, when I want to go somewhere, I'd like to go and not have to worry about the crowds and not have to queue up. But the
Yeah.
thing is, here, when it's hot, everyone is there. When it's cold, everyone is there inside doing stuff. So coming to Australia, having the freedom sort of to just go, should we go there today? Should we do that? And not having to worry about crowds. And it's not like I don't mind being around people. It's just chaos here, you
Oh,
know?
you just want space, mate. I totally agree, Andrew. Like, space is what you want. I love it, mate. Like, it's good. It's what you need when you've worked a week. You just want that quality time with your family. And you get that when you've got space. When there's big crowds, it's harder. You got to
Yeah,
queue, wait, and all that. And it's just because it's sort of stretched out. Summer's stretched out, so it's not just done in a few days like the UK, where you got that hot day and everyone wants to turn at the beach. It's there, so it just, I don't know. It's just, again, it depends where you live, but yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Frees you up. What about, have you told people yet? Have you sort of, are you at that point where you're telling people, or are you holding back?
Sort of. Hopefully, not listening to this podcast. So,
Should have called you Peter.
yeah, again, we wasn't sure if this would happen. Because I'm 40 in 2 weeks' time, so it was like, oh, we're going to lose some points, so we're going to go down the list. So will it happen for us? Will something happen here? We didn't want to tell people from the off, and then every time we see them, be subjected to questions about, oh, why are you going, what are you doing. Didn't want to also make people feel sad, so for the last, don't know, 14 months, I've started dropping in hints. So I work with my brother, and I've been sort of like putting hints in there since last year, and like now we pretty much talk about it every day. There'll be a subject every day, to the point where now he's looking at coming as well, which is great.
No, that'd be good. So do you guys own the business together, do you?
Well, sort of. I mean, yeah, I'm down as director, but I mean, yeah, pretty much it's 50-50
Yeah.
on that. But so, and so they sort of know. They don't know how far along in the process we are. I.e., I only told them that I went for my skills assessment 2 weeks ago, when in fact I did it in December.
Yeah.
And they don't know, like I said, unless they listen to this podcast, that we'll be lodging today.
Mm.
And then, yeah, so I'm just getting them used to the idea.
Yeah.
And it helps at the minute. I've got some family over from Australia, so I'm talking to them while everyone's around and asking them
Yeah.
questions to try. There's my mum, my brother, and I've got a few other relatives around as well. All the rest of them live around the UK, so we don't really see them too much. So it's mainly my mum and my brother that, I worry about. But they're being told, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, our visa took really quick to get, which is amazing. So yeah, just get them used to the idea. At a minute, there's been some conversations from my mum like, oh, will you like it? It might be too hot, and I'm just like giving her a quick answer and then moving on. And I get
Yeah.
it's not that she doesn't want me to go; it's just more that she's probably more going to miss Mia. But but eventually I'm looking at, like, my brother's now talking about with his partner about signing up and jumping on board. So I mean, if he goes as well, then hopefully my mum will then come along at some point as well, because
How old's your mum?
she is 60.
Okay, she's quite young.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah,
young. So
yeah,
yeah, she'll have. Is it just you and your brother in the family?
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, once you get your visa granted and all that, and when she gets a few more years down the line now, I think they've made it about 65 or something like that, the parent visas.
Mhm.
Yeah, then she'll be eligible. If your brother comes, then it's a no-brainer, to get her here. But I don't know, mate. Like, it's good. I reckon people that tell people right at the start, I guess it's interesting, and it's like if you're at a party or catching up with family, you might, what have you been up to? Oh, well, I actually did a skills assessment, or I've been studying for an English test, or we've been to a migration expo, or we've been focusing on our trip, our plans to get to Oz. But then you hear others on the podcast say they kind of wish they didn't tell everyone, because it's such a long process that everyone keeps asking, when are you going? When are you going? When do you get there?
Yeah,
It sort of
yeah.
becomes a bit of a bugbear that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I didn't want. I didn't want that. Again, it's because again, things might happen here. I just didn't want to build everything up with everyone, and that's more so because I've listened to the podcast and listened to what people have done. So then I decided, you know what, let's just leave it. Let's just wait and see what happens. So yeah, yeah. If they're
And
listening, sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry too. Actually, you don't want to hear it this way, but I guess you're doing, and I really appreciate you jumping. Any person who jumps on the podcast, I really appreciate it, guys, because it gives you a chance to tell your story and to help others. That's what this is about, isn't it? It's about learning and
Yeah,
helping as many people as you can fulfill their plans and their excitement to get to Australia. But geez, it's ups and downs. Did you go in the English test?
yeah. I did all right. I got 20 points.
What, first go?
Yeah, yeah.
That's all right.
But
It's
it
pretty
was
good
a
for a
bit.
start.
It's a
Hey,
bit of a mess, mate, to be honest, because I, I, s- I done the PTE
yeah.
and I studied. I bought the study packages. I did everything, and then I went to a test centre. I fitted in around work, so I went to a test centre in East London.
Hmm.
Now I walked in there, and people looked at me as if like, "Why are you here? What are you doing?" Like, and I explained to the lady behind the counter, and I said, "I'm here for the test for Australia." She went, no, 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 you don't need one. I went, no, I do need one. I've booked it. And she's like, no, 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 it's the wrong test. It's the wrong test. And I'm like, there's only one test. So she said to me, look, you might as well do the test, but it's not going to count. So I was like a little bit disheartened then, thinking like, what? There was only one option to book on the website.
Yeah.
So I've gone in there, like just thinking, oh, whatever, I'm just going to do this and get out of here. So I sort of went at it about, you know, not to sound big-headed, but I just went in there a bit like 50%,
Yeah.
and just because in my head I just thought, well, this is not going to count for anything anyway. So I
Yeah.
just carried on and did it, and then left the test centre, and that evening got my results. That was 20 points,
How
and
good.
sent it over to Will, and I explained to him, and he went, no, that's correct, mate. That's fine. You said that's the right test, and I was like, oh, okay. There's me thinking I have to go and do it again, but no, I did okay. Yeah, 20
God,
points.
imagine if you had a left, man. You've been so frustrated.
I
You
was
hadn't
about
done
to be honest.
But
I was
maybe the
about to.
pressure was off you too, mate. So then all of a sudden, you like without that pressure, you sort of can do it. What tips would you give for anyone who any tradie, I guess, we sort of that would be looking to do the test? Like what advice would you give?
So I wrote it down here, and this is one of the biggest things. If you're going to practice, especially the speaking part, do it in a room with people, with your family or something like that. Because when I was practicing, I came to my office and I was alone doing it, doing great. When I got to the test center, you are sitting in booths next to each other. There are no
Okay,
screens, so you can't see each other's monitors. But when it started and everyone started talking, the background noise, I mean, maybe it was just the test center that I went to, but the background noise was unbelievable. And then I felt uncomfortable speaking. So
what
my
did you have to
advice,
speak about?
I think it was just repeating some sentences, things like that. Yeah, just and describing some stuff. And I think that for me would be the biggest thing. Just practice with kids around you and stuff like that, because it really was off-putting for me. And I think that's the lowest part that I got on the. I just scraped to get into the to the.
To get superior, and then what about the writing section? Do you remember what you had to write on?
I can't remember. I mean, I know from the practice stuff writing, they was explaining some situations. I think there was like a lecture or something, and it was describing a topic, and then you had to write as much information from that short little section as possible.
Okay. Yeah, it's so hard because I always tell people, it's not teaching you how to read, write, speak, and listen again. It's teaching you how to pass the exam.
Yeah.
And just work out how to pass it, work out what they want. But we hear it all the time. That's it's such a good point. What else? Just out of curiosity, have you written some stuff down for the listeners? Was that like a one-off thing, or have you got other things there?
I mean, I've got more sort of in my head advice as we go, but there was that I put down, my assessment as well. You know, there's some stuff on the assessment, on the skills assessment.
Yep.
So
The
I did mine
technical or
with
the practical?
bit of both, mate. I did mine with future skills.
Yep.
So I see a lot of people asking questions all the time, um, what to expect and things like this. And a lot of people say, oh, it's easy, don't worry about it and stuff like that. And there also seems to be a lot of focus on motors, and I think that's what put me off of doing this a long time ago as well, was the motor side of things. Because
Yeah.
I mean, apart from college, you don't, unless you're in an industry where you're dealing with motors every day, like lift engineers or in factories and stuff, you're not doing it. So when I
Yeah.
see people go, it's easy, don't worry about it, it's like, no, it depends on what industry that you're in.
I think the ATTC one is a lot easier than the Future Skills one. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a thing. Like we use both. They use our venues for both, but now we sort of really just focus on ATTC. But Future Skills, they are very much on the motor control. But what about the technical interview? How did you find that part?
So the technical interview was written based on future skills.
Oh, that's right. I think you do that exam the same day as you're doing the practical.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be honest, my experience with future skills, they were really good. I mean, if you're doing future skills and they offer you like a short course to sort of revise on some bits and pieces. It's online via Zoom with a guy from Brisbane. Um, that's really good. It's really worth the money, because there was things I didn't know or never really understood because I wasn't in that industry. So that was great. and
Yeah.
it really did cover everything that was in the exam. And from that I made loads of notes. They send you a PowerPoint as well, and I just made myself some flashcards. And I got Lucy to, for about 2 months prior to sitting the exam, I just got her to go through the questions with me to the end where she could answer electrical questions as well.
Good on her.
So, and a lot of it, to be fair, didn't come up in the exam. You
Yeah.
know, I think when you go into the exam, like any exam, if you care about something, you worry. So, and you want to do well. So it was, there's like quite a few questions. I think it was about a 2-hour paper. There's nothing really I wouldn't say too difficult. There's a lot of equations, but they give you the sheet of paper with equations on them. So you're not
Yeah.
expected to remember everything. It's just more learn how to use your calculator properly. Plumbers probably don't know this, but you have to do equations and stuff to work stuff
We
out.
just do it in our heads, mate.
You just
Don't need a calculator.
you just turn the water on and hope it doesn't leak.
And that's it. And if it does, blame the Sparky for putting a bloody
Yeah.
nail through it. But yeah, it's so different because with the ATDC skills assessment, they do like we do like when I'm delivering the plumbing ones for ATDC, we do the technical interview and they do the practical assessment separately.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier, and the technical interview is an interview like what we're doing now.
Hmm.
So it has got it. But geez, you did really well by studying for it and all that as well, mate. You've done really well. Like what score? You don't mind me asking, what score did you end up getting for the 190? What did you for Queensland? What did you have? What points?
75 points we got.
Yeah, good
But then I
stuff.
was
So
worried because
if
obviously
you
I had to, like
hadn't
I
have
said,
got the invite and you turned 40, then you would have been back to 65.
exactly. That's what I was about to. Yeah. So yeah, that was my. To be honest, I never expected this to go as quick. And yeah,
Sorry, mate. Did you do the webinar we did with Queensland government?
I did. Yeah.
Ah, there you go. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Lucky you joined that webinar, mate. We had quite a few people who joined that webinar that got invites, which was good. Yeah, because that's the thing with Queensland too, because they're building the Olympics. The Olympics are coming up. There's so much work there at the moment. Because I chat to all the onshore tradies, and most of them just in Queensland. I'm like, oh, you might be running out of time. Go look for an employer sponsored visa. And I say, that could have challenges. No, oh no, I've got job offers all the time, like in Queensland at the moment. So I think it's going to be good times when you get here.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think I
hoping
think
so.
you'll you should do well, mate. Anything else you'd like to throw in, Andrew? Like anything else you'd like to throw in, mate, before we close it up? Because I'll get in trouble by Lisa if I run more than 40 minutes. And we're at 40 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to comment, mate? Say anything at all?
No, there's a couple of things. I mean, obviously, I can only talk about you guys. I've only used you guys. You've got to just listen to everyone that you're dealing with at the DUC.
Yeah.
Like from the skills assessment, I was getting frustrated. I was sending documents in, and then Will would come back and say, "Do this, do this," and you're like, "What do you mean? I've done this." He wouldn't exactly tell you how to do it or how to word something, but he'll tell you, do this and do this and do this. He's done it many times, so like the other
Yeah.
people there as well. Now, having done what I did with Will, I'm not having any really problems. I'm not
Yeah.
getting flagged up for any paperwork. He made me go through everything and do
Yeah.
stuff that I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that. But it's made the process a lot smoother. Dealing with, sorry, mate, go on.
I was just to say, it's because what we need for the skills assessment is pretty much what we need for the visa. So we make it harder at that point. So you're getting majority of everything you need for the visa. So I appreciate you mentioning that because sometimes our team, they're like, they cop it from clients and they're just like, oh, I'm trying to help them. But yeah, if you do listen, people out there, we can make it easier. Yeah,
No,
fire away, Andrew.
100%, mate. And it's like even on the next stage, is dealing with Jenny and Trish. It's like I love the way. I remember something that Trish said to me. She went, when we did the EII, she said, "You will only hear from me when we hear something back." And I love that because that's how I do my business. It's like if we don't
Yeah,
need to talk, let's not talk. And it's not being a rude way. It's just saying like, you guys are dealing with loads of people. Don't ring us up every day. Email every day. As soon as Trish and Jenny has heard anything, I have been forwarded the email straight away because you can see it on the time. So
yeah.
it's not like they've got your information there and they're withholding it. As soon as they get the information, they are contacting you. So just get on with your life. That is the biggest. I've wrote this in big letters on the piece of paper in front of me. Carry on with your life,
Yeah,
because you don't know how long this is going to take. It could take months, it could take years, and that's the way I've thought about this all the time. And I've said to Lucy, like, we can't just. We want to go. Let's just stop everything else. Mia's got to go to school. We've got to pay bills.
yeah,
If you've got goals here, carry on with them goals. It might be
yeah.
fitness, business, whatever it is. I said we're getting an extension built. Some people say, well, what's the point? Because we planned it. We're going to carry on with it.
Yeah.
We've still got to live up until that moment that we get on the plane. We have still got to live. So carry on, and then it's going to stop us sitting there every day, hoping, I hope it comes through today. I hope it comes through today. Just carry on. Keep yourself busy. That's all I
Mate,
can say to people.
mate, that's poetry. Yeah, well done, mate. That is beautiful words to say because it's what you need to do. Because once it becomes the only thing in your life, then everything else in your life becomes harder, including the visa process, because
Yeah.
it's all you're focused and worried about. If it's in the background and you're putting things in and you're waiting, it's slow. Like it's just slow.
Hmm.
Immigration goes through stages where we won't get invites for a month, and all of a sudden we'll get 150 invites overnight. The states go crazy, and they always go crazy at the same time, and then it's quiet for a few months again, or maybe a month, and it just changes. So listeners, do listen to Andrew's advice because it definitely will help you through it. This is like the emotional side is, would you agree it's just as hard as the skills assessment and English test, or did you find that you, because you're quite well measured, did you find that the actual skills assessment and English test was harder than the emotional side?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I care about it. I want it, so I put the effort in. I paid for the revision from PTE. I paid for the revision from Future Skills. People saying, "Oh, it's £400." So what? If you care, that it's. I think it was about £2,500 for the test. So I'd rather I'd rather pay that and pass than not pay £400 and have to do it again. Um,
Yeah,
so the emotional side of things. I mean, yeah, there's been little bits of times when you're like, we're doing the right thing, especially when it starts coming to paying big money. Like, this afternoon when I have to pay Trish for the fee. But, and I suppose once we get the invite and then we have to start packing up, yeah, it's probably going to get worse. I'm not going to stand there and go, no, I'll be fine. No. Yeah, it's going to hit.
oh mate, it's I can't wait. I really, mate, I just wish the best for you guys, and I hope your visa gets it gets granted quickly. And just from all the listeners, mate, thank you so much for making the time, Andrew. And hopefully, once you're in Oz and settled, mate, we'll have a catch up and see how your journey is. But from everyone at
Yeah,
Luciana
definitely.
Centre and all the DUC family, thanks for sharing your tips and all that, mate. And we wish you all the best for your journey to Oz.
No, thank you. I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, good on you guys. Well, we'll catch you on the next podcast. Big shout out to Andrew. That was a really good one. All right. See you later, guys.